So I'm a psychically sensitive person. I mean, we all are, but I've personally spent years meditating and sitting in ceremony to cultivate my energetic sensitivity, and there's a really interesting energy dynamic taking place in the collective right now. Essentially, what it feels like is a massive divide. On one side of the collective energy is what I would call a mass hysteria, whereas this energy is caught up in the mainstream storylines and the attachment to prosperity and extravagant experiences. This side, which is a small percentage that is often seen the most because it's perpetuated by social media influence culture, is basically reminiscent of a group of people who live in a fantasy world where everything is always okay, the actions we make don't really matter, and what matters is status, money, popularity, and appearances. Then there's this other side of the collective, which is realistically worried about the future, and they are grounded in everyday life, which looks a lot like struggle, strain, carrying heavy burdens to the point of total exhaustion. The people on the first side don't value the opinions of the people on the second side basically at all. And the people who are worried about society largely worry because they see the high status appearances being made by the others and therefore live in a constant state of lack because their life doesn't look like that at all. I'm here to tell you that extravagance is a convincing illusion, and no amount of success, money, popularity will automatically change your state to being happy, peaceful, and content. It just isn't the truth. So I'm making this video for the people who are anxious, worrisome, and don't know which direction to go in. Because believe me, this is by far the predominant energy in the field right now, and hundreds of thousands are feeling lost and alone. So if you are lost and you're in this alone place, I have been in places like that for years, and I am going to give you 5-step roadmap that you can use today to get out of it. First thing you must do if you find yourself in a lost and anxious place is you need to find your center. So what is our center and how do we do this? Essentially, our consciousness is made up of a couple of different things. We have our mind, which is for most of us constantly relaying thoughts and opinions. We have our bodies, which is the physical vessel that we navigate this experience with. And then we have our awareness. The reason that we can know our awareness, which is our soul's essence, is separate from our minds and our bodies is because we can shift our awareness between different things. If I asked you to think of a relative's house, most likely your mind can go there. But if I asked you to focus on the sensations of your body at a specific point, you most likely could go there too. These would be two separate experiences. So why does this matter? A large part of the lostness we feel is because our awareness, which is basically what we're paying attention to, has been captured and taken away from the actual experience of this reality, and it has gotten lost in some fantasy world within the mind. There is some storyline that your mind keeps repeating over and over and over, and you don't know how to end it, and it doesn't lead anywhere, and a lot of the time you get nothing from these cyclical thoughts. But if you are able to become aware of this, then you can actively shift your attention back to your body and use your body to anchor your attention into the here and the now, and you won't get lost in mental loops as deeply as you did before. When you are able to consistently anchor your attention on the body and the here and now, this is where you will receive the information you need to take the next steps in the direction your soul is guiding you, which will lead you to your highest fulfillment and greatest level of satisfaction. If you are not present in the here and now, then even if your guides or your body is trying to send you messages to guide you, you won't be able to hear it because your senses and your judgment are already full and distracted elsewhere. A really great example to demonstrate this is if I asked you to look around the room and find any green object that you can, would you then be able to tell me what blue objects there were? Probably not. Because you were so caught up in one story, you missed the others, which are also occurring just at a different dimension of the same reality. Our bodies and our souls are guiding us all the time. And it is only the disconnection from this part of our being that causes us to feel so lost, trapped, and alone. So to recap the first point, our center is the place to which we can navigate our lives best, and we find our center by constantly bringing our attention and our awareness back to the present moment, back to the sensations of our body, and back to our current surroundings. Number 2, the next thing you must do to get out of anxiety is fill your own cup. So what is filling your cup and why does this matter? Essentially, in most cases, when you are able to ease the constant looping of the mind and you can succeed in coming back to your center, the life you are going to find is quite empty. A great example of this is coming home to a garden after being away for a long time. Likely the garden is going to be empty and dry and without a lot of life. Because we have neglected our bodies and our souls, these areas within us become barren. And so this is really hard to accept at first, and honestly, this is why so many of us fall victim to the illusion of grander lives and the attraction that these distractions offer. But let me tell you, when you start truly taking care of your needs and listening from within, it does not take long to get your inner life back to a vibrant and abundant state. The only thing we have to understand is that this inner vibrancy can only come from us because we are the only ones who have the access key to this inner garden. The way that we start to cultivate being full rather than empty is to come back to your body, listen to what your body is asking of you, and then take the steps necessary to fulfill that request or desire. For a lot of people, this looks something like spending more time on self-care, spending more time doing the things that you actually enjoy that fill you up, spending time finding out what it is that you enjoy and exploring new things in the first place that you feel called to explore. This can be building friendships, community with people who share similar values to the new ones that you discover within your new self. Once you realize that this is actually the place that you will find the fulfillment you were always looking for outside of yourself, then it will start to really click and it will become easier and easier to live according to your internal guidance system rather than listening to the supposed correct path that others project onto you. From here, we have found our center and found ourselves once again, and now we have begun to fill ourselves with satisfaction from within. So the third step is you need education. If you have made it to step 3, then you're already in a beautiful place. We have our footing, we are beginning to have some energy again, and now the question becomes, what do we do with this foundation that we have built? Well, if you want to move on to the next level, then you have to understand more of what's actually happening in this situation. This way we can strengthen our capacity to be self-aware, and we can also become more capable. It's sort of like learning how to ride a bike, and you have to get better at riding faster if you want to become better at bike riding. So at this point, I recommend learning more about spirituality and psycho-spiritual principles that govern the systems that I'm talking about that you use to build your life. It's really important to understand the nervous system and the brainwave states that we are constantly shifting through in our day-to-day lives. It's also really important to understand the role that the breath plays in the nervous system and its regulation. It's really important to understand nervous system stimulation by seeing what actions we engage with that stimulate the nervous system or what actions we engage with that provide it with recovery, and then learning when and where to stimulate or when and where to rest to achieve the results we want. Anybody can put their foot on the gas pedal and a car will move forward. But if you want to become proficient at driving the car to the best of your ability, then you have to study these mechanisms deeper and learn how it actually works. The most complex mechanisms of the car are what makes you the best at driving it. So if you are interested in this step, then there are amazing books out there. There are lots of spiritual self-help books you can find. I'm also going to keep teaching about this stuff, so if you want to keep following along, now would be a good time to like and subscribe, and I'm going to explain a lot more over the future. And you just need to know that everything that you need to know already lies within you, but if you just develop the skill to listen, then you will be able to learn more fully at the rate that is best for you. So step 4 is we're going to learn how to connect. At this point, we have found our center, we know how to calm our mind by coming back to the present moment, we have also started to give ourselves more and more energy, and we are learning more about self-awareness to become better at driving our consciousness vehicle. But then we reach a point in our journey where we start to see that everything is connected and that there are thousands of people out there who have been doing this work for years and years and years. You begin to see that the car couldn't drive without the steering wheel, the tires, the gas, the transmission, and the driver all working together. So you start to realize you can only reach a certain point of direction and fulfillment on your own, and if you want to take that a step further to become more fulfilled and satisfied, then it would be wise to connect with other energies and other sources of greater wisdom. If you sit with yourself and listen long enough, you will realize a lot of our sources of energy are actually external, and if we are wise enough to give and then also receive, then a mutual exchange opens up and it becomes an infinite feedback loop where, the energy that you need in your life is created more and more and more. This creates self-sustaining joy, happiness, and greater levels of fulfillment. And it just depends on our willingness and our ability to surrender our own needs to basically work together with others as a greater collective. Essentially, you see that happiness comes directly from energy, and this is why all those influencers care about popularity, because they're actually feeding off of the collective attention, and they're harvesting that energy to use it for their own selfish satisfaction and happiness. The only problem is that this isn't a, infinite loop, and this is only giving in one direction, and that's only receiving in one direction, and it becomes unbalanced, and that is partially how our society has gotten to the place that it is today. No matter how individual we try to be, we can't get away from the fact that we all need food, water, air, things like sunlight and ground to stand on. But when we realize our greater role to play within the collective, then we can give and receive greater benefits, and also our participation helps build oneness and unity. The last step is vision, and it is a powerful step. Once we have created the foundation, developed the skills, tools, and community to live a more full and happy life, then the question becomes, just because I'm good in the present moment, what does my future hold? What do I want my future present moments to be like? Do I like being closely connected to others? And if so, can I get more of that? And what would it take to build more of that? Another thing you might realize is if you like having access to food and water, then what decisions can you make now to ensure that you'll have more things like that in the future? So this final point comes down to one thing, and that is soul fulfillment. It asks the question, why did I choose to come to Earth at this time in the first place? And it's a deeper part of you that led you to this video in the first place, because you wouldn't have felt lonely and anxious before if you were content with where you originally were at. There is some deeper part of you ready for more and ready to express your unique gifts and skills in a way that only you can. It is only when we have taken care of our physical needs and lives that we can start to truly expand beyond the limits of this world and beyond the limits of the past versions of ourselves to build more confidence. This question is one that only one part of you can answer, and that is your heart. In order to find the real direction that will never leave you feeling lost again, you must seek within by connecting with love and then vision the future that you wish to manifest. If you do this, you will be guided step by step further and further into the expansion of your consciousness, and it will inevitably challenge you to see how well you have learned everything that life has been giving you up to this point. Following these 5 steps will ensure that you exit out of the lonely and anxious place that you originally found yourself in, and you will emerge into a beautiful new world, one of your own aligned creation. The only piece of this entire discussion that I want you to walk away with is that you have all the power you need to get out of any situation that you find yourself in. The only thing is you have to be the one to choose to take step after step and not give up no matter how hard it gets. Come back to the now. Give yourself the rest and time that you need, letting go of urgency, and then follow the guidance that the moment is taking you in, and it will lead you to places better than you had ever imagined you would go. I look forward to seeing you there. So my name is John. I am a confidence coach and I offer one-to-one coaching programs to help people work through the deeper levels of anxiety to access greater levels of healing and confidence from within. And if you would like to check that out, then you can check the link below or the link in my bio. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I really do enjoy, getting to share this space with you. And it's a great honor of mine to get to present these ideas and to basically communicate these things. And so I really do hope that you gain value from it. If you would like, then you can go ahead and comment your thoughts down below, and I read all of them. So I would be open to having a discussion in terms of if there was anything that stood out or maybe anything that you found unique or interesting. That would be lovely. Otherwise, I really hope that you believe in yourself today and have a beautiful, wonderful day.